now is our promoter from Golden Boy Promotions. He captured Olympic gold and went on to an unbelievable professional career. The multi-time world champion, the Golden Boy, Oscar de la Hoya!
Feliz 5 de mayo y que viva México!
And on stage, facing off, ladies and gentlemen, it's hard to believe this.
Well, I got to say, Reyes' sock and underwear game has got to be solid because he lost a half a pound, Doug, just right there. But I'm excited to see David Lemieux. We last saw him knocking out Curtis Stevens just a couple months ago. So this is very active by today's standards to see him again perform, and big things down the road for him.
Yeah, it's great to see Lemieux capitalizing on that knockout of the year candidate. It's great to see after being in a 50-50 fight with a fellow knockout artist and coming out on top, carrying that momentum into this big event. And this is a huge opportunity for him. He knows if he wins, he's in line to face Canelo or maybe even Chavez Jr. We'll see what happens. But what I like about Lemieux is that he's coming to his own. He knows what he is. He's not second-guessing himself in that ring. He's a seek-and-destroy fighter, and that's why we love to watch him fight.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's throw it down to Beto right now.
Marco Dorado Reyes desde Chihuahua, Mexico. You said that David Lemieux wasn't taking you serious. What kind of fight do we expect? You can expect a big fight. It's going to be fireworks tomorrow night. I get the best camp in my life, so I came here to win no matter what. I came to win, and he unsuspect me. You did sparring with Chavez Jr. You think you're ready in the best shape of your life. You're going to bring the crowd some fireworks on Cinco de Mayo, aren't you? Yeah, that's right. Let's get celebrate this Cinco de Mayo with a big victory. Makes Mexico versus Canada. Mexico's gonna be the winner, and the fans we're gonna be the winners with this exciting fight. El de Chihuahua, Mexico. Back to you, Mario.
Thank you, Beto. Marco Reyes seems very confident. Obviously, the underdog coming in here, but listen, very, very proud man on a very proud weekend. So I expect a great showing. We know what Lemieux can bring. So, gentlemen, so far so good. This card's really stacked.
Well, I think top to bottom we're going to have real good action. And again, I think the one thing I'm going to look for, Lucas Martin Matisse, one of my personal favorites, what version of the machine exists in 2017?
Let's go to Jess right now.
All right, thank you guys so much. We're here with David Lemieux, who's coming off that impressive performance you guys were just talking about against Curtis Stevens. How do you take the momentum from that fight, bring it into this one, and either, equalize that or do better than that?
What's the question, sorry?
I said, how do you plan to take the momentum from your last fight and do better than that in this one?
I didn't take no breaks since my last fight. I'm here to give another great show. It's going to be hard to top off a knockout like that, but, I have a tough opponent in front of me. I highly doubt that it'll last 10 rounds, but I'm here to give a great show. So, to all the Mexican fans, I'm excited.
Of course, what can we look forward to on Saturday for you? What's going to be the toughest part about this fight against Marco Reyes?
The toughest part is done. Making the weight was the toughest part, and that was the fun part. Against Marcos Reyes is a tough opponent, but I've trained hard for this fight. I'm not worried about him.
All right, sounds good. We're looking forward to it on Saturday. We're going to send it up to Mario and the guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jess. A very confident David Lemieux. Let's take a look at the whole pay-per-view undercard. We've got Joseph Diaz Jr. versus Manuel Avila. Saw both gentlemen make weight, both focused and ready to go. And Lucas the Machina Matisse versus Emmanuel Taylor. Interesting matchup there stylistically. David Lemieux, the heavy-handed, hard-punching French-Canadian versus Marco Reyes from Chihuahua, Mexico, who's coming in here with a lot of pride. So fun matchups, entertaining styles. And, of course, the main event with Canelo and Chavez Jr. that is looming. What are we looking for when it comes to Jojo Diaz, Doug?
Well, he can't just win. He's a contender now. He's angling for a title shot, and he's also looking to build a fan base. When you're looking to make fans, you can't just go out there and win. You just can't go and outpoint a guy. you got to close the show. So he's got to show some world-class power to go with those skills, and he's got to go out there and make things happen against a difficult stylist in Tino Avila.
Yeah, it's not just winning, it's how you win. You're right, Doug. And Steve, you mentioned you're a huge fan of the Máquina, Lucas Matisse. He's always been very fan-friendly. With a strong performance tomorrow night, he could be right back in the mix of things.
I think between 140 and 147, he is right back as a solid contender. Television history, he's been fan-friendly. But I want to say one thing about Emmanuel Taylor. This is not a pushover. You know, I was watching ESPN a couple days ago. If I had to compare him to somebody, it's someone that they did a feature on, the 90s Bills. Every time he's at that big level, he can't get over the hump. Emmanuel Taylor believes his losses to Antonio Orozco, Chris Algieri, and an Adrian Broner have made him a better fighter. He says his goal is to make Lucas Matisse rethink his professional platform to make him quit once again.
Interesting analogy. And someone who's dealt with loss early in their career and has come back and seems to be on a path for bigger and better things is David Lemieux. Very marketable, good-looking guy, good-looking fighter, exactly what we would like to see when we watch fights. He comes in, you know what you're getting, heavy-handed, leather is flying, and if he has another performance, like you said, Doug, he could have the likes of Canelo or Chavez down the line.
Yeah, and I think his head is in the right place now. Now, 2 years ago, he won the IBF middleweight title, and in his very first offense was a unification fight against Gennady Golovkin. He came up short, and there's no shame in losing to Golovkin, but he didn't fight like himself in that fight. He was thinking a little bit too much. Maybe he was trying to box a little bit too much. In his recent fights, particularly against Curtis Stevens, he was all search and destroy. He was what he was made to be, a knockout artist. If he goes out and does that on Saturday, bigger and better things will present themselves for David Lemieux.
Yeah, and David Lemieux told me a couple days ago that he has quote-unquote unfinished business against Golovkin. And this was a goal. His co-promoter and manager, Camille Estefan, said, Steve, we want 4 fights one way or the other. As of right now, they are on pace for that type of schedule.
Well, those are lofty goals, and depending on how he performs tomorrow night, he's on his way to achieving those. Well, there's only one more fight, or weigh-in, I should say, for the fight left, gentlemen. And that, of course, is of Canelo and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Some Chavez Jr. fans right there getting into the groove. Some more Chavez. Are you surprised by the ratio of fans? Did you think it was overwhelmingly going to be a lot of Canelo support as opposed to Chavez Jr.?
I think Canelo right now has the support 2/3 to 1/3, and I think this has a lot to do with the 5 years since September of 2012. There was a time when Chavez was the biggest name in boxing, or at least Mexican boxing. In fact, knocked Canelo off of pay-per-view as he fought Sergio Martinez. But consider this, from that point on, one guy has faced Floyd Mayweather, Austin Trout, guys like Erislan de Lara and Miguel Cotto, and the other guy was struggling with Brian Vera twice. One guy has earned this position, but with one night, Chavez can erase a lot of history.
I remember the night you're speaking of at the Thomas and Mack Center when both were headlining pay-per-view fights. And Doug, to piggyback on that too, if Chavez has a solid showing and not even victorious, let's assume it's along the Klitschko lines of just this last week, where Klitschko earned more respect almost from this loss than he has a lot of previous victories. If he has a showing like that and somehow comes up short, do you think he wins back a lot of the masses and support?
Absolutely. We said with Joseph Diaz Jr., it's not just winning, it's how you win. And also in boxing, it's not if you lose, it's how you lose. If he gives his all, if he brings his best, and when he's at his best, he's a pressure fighter, he's a volume puncher, he's looking to impose himself physically, that's going to make for a great fight against Canelo. Even if he comes up short, fighting like that, he will win back a lot of fans.
Right, and the fans will win just off of pure entertainment value. Well, gentlemen, we're going to find out if Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. will in fact make the weight. There is a $1 million penalty if he is over. I don't ever recall something so stiff before. I think this is unprecedented, and we are seconds away from the weigh-in of Saul Canelo Alvarez and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. at 164.5 pounds, agreed upon weight limit.
Boxing's biggest star, the son of a legend.
Chavez has it stands. There goes Martinez. Huge right hand by Canelo. Knocked on full.
world will be watching to see who becomes Mexico's undisputed boxing king. Canelo versus Chavez Jr., Saturday, May 6, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on pay-per-view.
Se ha vuelto personal, ¿no? Ya desde hace años se ha venido viendo esta rivalidad entre Chávez y yo.
Te vas a dar cuenta qué clase de peleador soy. No soy más el hijo de Julio Cesar Chávez, te vas a dar cuenta.
I don't know what it is, for some strange reason, when two Mexicans face each other, it's a guaranteed war.
Saul Canelo Alvarez arriving to the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Never has he been so happy at camp, he was telling me, because he hasn't had to worry about weight. He looks incredibly strong. He's incredibly focused. So much is at stake. And gentlemen, much has been made about the rivalry with these two. And we're going to see if it translates into the ring. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. entering the MGM Grand Garden Arena, looking thinner than he's looked in years.
Mario, this much is clear in looking at the behavior of both fighters from Tuesday on. Canelo was calm, cool, and collected. Almost to see the best way to describe Mr. Chavez is agitated and irritated. I thought it was very, very noticeable.
Coming to you live from Las Vegas here at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. I'm Mario Lopez with Doug Fisher and Steve Kim, and it is a packed house. Over 10,000 people came to the official weigh-in of Canelo Alvarez and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And boys, the undercard is stacked. We've got great fights all night, but this weigh-in, so much has been made because of the weight that was contracted at 164.5 pounds. A lot of people think, Doug, that the fight could be lost at the scales at this moment right now.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. I think whether or not we're going to get the fight that we want, which is going to be 12 rounds of action, depends on how intelligently Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. took off the weight to get down to 164.5 pounds, and how intelligently he puts back on that weight. He can't overdo it. He doesn't want to put on too many pounds. He doesn't want to be sluggish or waterlogged Saturday night.
We have a photo of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. weighing in last night. 12 hours ago, as a matter of fact. He's at 165.2 pounds. A lot of people, myself included, am surprised he was able to make that.
Yeah.
Will he make the weight? Plain and simple.
Mario, the word is he is going to make weight. I think the only thing missing from that picture was a ransom note. I guarantee you this. These past 4 or 5 days may have been the longest month of his life, because every minute must have been excruciating. I do expect him to make weight. I do think he is going to make 164.5. The question is, what does he have left in the tank for tomorrow night?
That's the $1 million, literally, the question. Well, the most influential person in his life, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., just spoke with our Beto.
With del gran campeón Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., ¿cómo se miró el Julio esta mañana?
Fíjate que lo veo contento, lo veo vacilando y la verdad muy contento porque ya está en peso, gracias a Dios. No hubo tanto problema como otras ocasiones, gracias a Dios. Y listo ya para... No, ahí viene ya.
Well, Junior, I asked him how did Junior feel this morning. He said he was really happy, real content, and that he made the weight. And unlike other occasions where it was difficult to make it, not this time. Okay, ya váyase con el campeón. Julio Cesar Chavez, back to you, Mario.
Thank you, Beto. Well, Dad looks very proud there. I think Dad's a little surprised himself that he was able to make that weight. But I think it comes down to, is he going to be a shell of himself? Is he going to be able to hydrate properly, like you mentioned? Is he going to still have the strength? Is it going to be one hard body shot and he's going to collapse? Or will he be able to take advantage of his physical advantages from his height to his reach to the weight advantage, which is surely going to be the case?
Well, I wrote a story for UCN Live where Oscar De La Hoya recounted his experiences against Manny Pacquiao. He had not fought as a welterweight in 7-8 years coming into that fight, December of 2008. I still remember him actually taking a seat before he hit the scale, slumped over. I knew at that point that was a foreshadowing of a very, very bad night. ended up actually ending the career. Again, it's one thing to make the weight, but Doug, the question is, how do you function at that weight?
And Doug, a lot of people will say that, oh, he might come in 20 pounds over, but that's not, he could still, the bodies could still feel deteriorated and still be at a disadvantage just because the number on the scale is higher.
That's true, and I think that's why he brought in Juan Manuel Marquez's team, basically, to help him prepare for this fight. He's got an all-time great Mexican trainer, and Nacho Beristain. He knows how to condition fighters. And Memo Heredia, who is a conditioning, nutritional guru, to help him take off the weight intelligently, but also put it back on smartly.
Exactly. Let's go to Jess right now.
Exciting is this for everyone involved?
It is. It's exciting for everybody. You know, it's just a celebration of the Mexican heritage. You know, Cinco de Mayo is a celebration that everyone should be involved in. It's kind of like we want to create like a St. Patrick's Day that, you know, the Irish have, you know, and we as Americans have 4th of July, and we celebrate with family and the barbecues and just the fireworks. So Cinco de Mayo, hey, let's celebrate with family, have a great time, picnics and barbecues, and on Saturday night, a great fight.
Celebrate with boxing. I love that idea. Now, speaking of celebrating, tomorrow night, only one of these teams will be celebrating a win. But at what point did this fight become more than just a fight?
Just when we signed it, because Chavez and Canelo have this personal animosity. They just don't like each other. So when we first signed the fight, we knew it was going to be big. But actually, I have to tell the truth, I didn't know it was going to catch fire this fast. But you know, people know it's going to be a real good fight.
We're glad it did. It's very exciting, and of course, we're not going to keep everybody at home waiting another second longer. So thanks for the time, Oscar. We're ready to do this.
Thank you. We are.
Thank you, Jess. Well, Oscar mentions St. Patrick's Day, or like in Cinco de Mayo to be like, and that's what I love about this fight too, is an event. And boxing always prospers when it's a big event like this. And I dare you to find me a fight where there's two Mexicans in that ring and it's a boring fight, much less two Mexicans who don't like each other. Reminds me of Barrera, Morales, and other great fights of the ilk, Doug.
Yeah, and this fight has an ingredient that Barrera Morales had, and that one of the fighters has something to prove. Marco Antonio Barrera was counted out by a lot of folks because he had those back-to-back losses to Junior Jones. He had a head operation that kind of made him inactive for a while, so he was a big underdog coming into that first fight against Eric Morales. It made him up his game, and Eric Morales had to up his game and his warrior spirit to keep up and win that epic fight.
Thank you, Doug. Well, gentlemen, the wait is over. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the main event weigh-in.
Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night, courtesy of the MGM Grand of Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena, Oscar de la Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions, in association with TGB Promotions, will proudly present the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing in the super middleweight division. Welcome to the official weigh-in. So let's get this party started! On the stage, 50 victories, 32 wins by knockout, Only 2 defeats with 1 draw. Damas y caballeros de Culiacán, Sinaloa, Mexico. Former middleweight champion of the world, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. 48 victories, 34 wins by knockout, only 1 defeat with 1 draw. De Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. 3-time world champion, the former middleweight world champion, and the 2-time super welterweight champion of the world, Saul Canelo. Y ahora, damas y caballeros, first onto the scales, ladies and gentlemen. Former middleweight world champion, 50 victories, 32 wins by knockout. Only 2 defeats with 1 draw. De Culiacán, Sinaloa, Mexico, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. $164 pounds. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And now next onto the scales, 48 victories, 34 wins by knockout. De Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, 3-time world champion, former middleweight, 2-time super welterweight champion of the world, Saul Canelo Alvarez. $164 pounds. Canelo Alvarez. It's all tomorrow night at the T-Mobile Arena, courtesy of the MGM Grand of Las Vegas, Nevada. Mexico versus Mexico. Bragging rights. Here they are. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Doug, we've got our first upset already.
Yeah,
I got to say,
absolutely.
I am shocked that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. came in underweight.
I wonder if he meant to do that or if he was on such a grind to make that weight that he overshot it a little bit. Who knows?
I'm at a bit of a loss for words, but Steve, how does he look to you at first glance?
Well, he looks very thin. I don't think you need to be Emmanuel Stewart or Angelo Dundee to figure out if you're Canelo, focus downstairs to the body. I think that is the central component. Get inside the reach of Chavez, which he really doesn't establish all that much. But guys, I think he should just keep chipping away downstairs early and often.
I think both guys should go to the body.
Exactly.
If you're Chavez Jr., you want to go to Canelo's body because you want to take away that speed, that snap. You want to take away his stamina. And, you know, when a guy puts on, when he's weighing more weight than he normally does, sometimes that weight can weight him down on the second half of a tough fight.
And both fighters fighting that same style. Right now, though, let's go down to better.
Desde Culiacán, Sinaloa, México, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Hiciste el peso, ¿cómo te sientes? How do you feel?
Me siento muy bien, me siento listo para la pelea de mañana.
Y mañana, ¿qué va a ser el enfoque? What's going to be the key tomorrow en esta pelea?
No, la clave es la preparación que hemos hecho, el apoyo de toda la gente y creo que vamos a hacer una gran pelea y vamos a ganar.
Es 5 de mayo, México contra México. Manden un saludo a todos los fanáticos ahorita.
Saludos a todos, ¡viva México!
A saludo everybody. Mario, back to you.
Thank you, Beto. A very confident Chavez Jr. who said he feels great. Looking lighter than we've seen him in years, and a little gun. Look, he's going to rehydrate and he's going to eat probably right now. And I'm just still in shock over the weight difference. Let's go down to Jess right now, who's with Canelo.
Pues a ver si podemos despertar a todos que están aquí. Tenemos con nosotros Saul, Canelo, Alvarez. Saul, ¿qué le quieres decir a todos que están aquí? What do you want to tell everyone right now?
No, me siento muy contento, me siento listo. Quiero agradecerle a toda la gente que está aquí. Gracias por venir a apoyar. Espero mañana disfruten de una gran pelea y todo esto es por ustedes.
Well, I'm very excited, I'm very happy, and I want to tell all the fans, thank you for all the love and support, and tomorrow, it's for you.
Now, Junior not only made 164.5, he made 164 even. What does that tell you about his dedication to this fight?
No, muy bien. No, eso me pone contento porque así vamos a brindarle una gran pelea a la gente. Creo que aquí se ve lo que se preparó. Me gusta para brindarle a la afición una gran pelea, una pelea que se merece.
I'm very happy that he made weight because that's proof that he worked hard and trained hard, and that's guarantee that we can give the fans a great fight that they deserve.
All right, guys, we got ourselves a fight. We're going to send it up to Mario and the guys.
Yeah, we do. Thank you so much, Jess. Meanwhile, Canelo's coming in. Built like a young Mike Tyson, who looks stronger than ever. The trap's in the back on that guy. We were talking a little earlier, Doug, about both the fighters going to the body. Both of these fighters, ironically, have the same sort of style, who like to stand right in front of you, dig into that body. Chavez Jr. often doesn't like to play to his strengths with his length and his height, but that's what's going to make it exciting. Will the weight advantage we presume that he's going to have tomorrow night make a huge difference? We'll see.
You're saying the weight advantage for Junior or the weight advantage
for Junior? For Junior, we assume
like
there's going to be.
Listen, yes, it will. If he can put it back on in a healthy manner, it will tell over the second half of the fight, and in part because Canelo's carrying more muscle. It's almost like a distance runner who bulks up to be fast, but then at the second half of the fight, the muscles start to tie up, and it slows him down a little bit. That could happen in this fight if it gets out of 6-7 rounds.
So with all that said, gentlemen, prediction. Steve?
Bottom line, styles make fights, but I also think skills really show who's the better fighter. I think it's clear. Take away the size or anything else, Canelo Alvarez has developed a skill set much better than Julio Cesar Chavez. I think he stops them between 8, 9, or 10. Simply a better fighter.
Doug?
Yeah, I like Alvarez by hard-fought, close but unanimous decision. I think Chavez Jr. has underrated skills. He's got a very good foundation. And at some point in this fight, he's going to emulate his father and really put it on Canelo Alvarez. I think the fans are going to come out winners.
I would like to think that we could see another great Mexican rivalry perhaps in the making. The ingredients are all there. We were surprised today. We could be surprised tomorrow for another wonderful fight. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, pay-per-view tomorrow night, Canelo Alvarez versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It is going down Cinco de Mayo weekend. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, everyone.